Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome back to City Thots Podcast. Today I'm be hosting this podcast today. It's going to be the littiest one so far. I'm sure of it. To my left, we still got Sam.
Hi.
And to my right, we still got Sean. Get used to it.
I'm here. I'm not leaving.
I hope so. I hope you guys love all of us so far at this point, for everyone who doesn't already know us. But yeah, we're back. And we're back with some new things to talk about. First of all, I want to start off like, how was everyone's kind of weekend? For everyone who doesn't know, we kind of shoot like midweek, so it's kind of nice to reconvene. True. How's everyone's weekends?
Pretty good. We just
good.
had a long weekend. I don't remember anything that I did,
Hey,
but I think it was good.
that's how you do Remembrance Day.
Yeah, that's Cut that out. Future Ivan, cut that out.
I mean, I work in hospitality, so this is my weekend. My
That's
week was
very
just
true.
work.
That's very true. I had a pretty chaotic weekend, not gonna lie. I really optimized this long weekend, but it's been like that for a while. So it's been kind of tough. But honestly, this weekend I had some weird thoughts. Not weird thoughts per se, but just been going out, and I was like, it's like single guy antics, I guess. But I was thinking about like when it's just on the last time Sunday, I was like, what are some bro codes? And I was like, what are some girl codes? What are some codes in general you guys live by? It could be with friends, family, the public. But I'm just curious. I felt like this weekend I was like, hey, I felt like this person's really vibing with me. We're vibing, we're doing our thing. And then I have a friend. We're in the same position. But once again, if he wants it, he can do his thing, right? Because I'm very nonchalant. I'm just like, oh, whatever, we're here, we're chilling. But then I felt like that night there was like a decent connection. But he comes in, he starts rizzing and doing his thing, and I was like, it's not like I steal it because I'm no, you don't do that, you don't claim, but it's like the assumption of like, I really thought I cooked here, but why are you eating my food?
And women are still people.
Once again, I was never talking about women.
What are you talking about?
I feel like that is a big thing, right? Like,
that
especially like going into like any sort of like night where it's like there's a bunch of single people. There's usually like kind of like a dib system, and that's kind of on like, oh, like this is someone that I'm potentially interested. I get like first potential like crack at it to show myself and like actually connect with this person. But then if you're out, then it moves on. Yeah. But if you're still like flambeing and stir frying, and someone else comes in with their chopsticks,
you're like, it's not ready for you yet.
Yeah, then I feel like you gotta respect that,
right? It's just, and I get it. Like, I think maybe depending on the group, maybe some people aren't aware how each other cooks. Maybe some guys like well done, some guys are medium rare kind of guys. But I was like, I really felt I was really, really in it, and so I was like, I'm curious. I'm like,
it's just, same thing for girls.
I
think.
Curious about girl codes.
I think it is like a layered thing. Like if you walk in and one girl says, "Oh, that guy's really cute," that doesn't mean that that's off limits now, because that's like layer one,
yes,
very top layer.
Yeah.
But like, let's say a guy like approaches a girl, one of the girls in the group, and that girl's like down for it and whatever, like that's now off limits, no matter whether or not if they struck out. I feel.
Is it like a vocal thing? Like you got to be like, hey girls, guy said it was cute. I'm locking it in.
I'm like struggling to know if in my head it's a girl code or if now we've all seen you hit on our friend and now we're all not interested because we've now like associated you as wanting our friend, I guess.
Yeah.
So I think there's like it's a two-pronged thing for sure.
Yeah, right. It's like he is clearly flirting with your friends. So you're like,
yeah, like don't come over here.
Yeah. And if he does, that's like he's
now I'm
dropping
like,
the ball.
okay.
Yeah. Now you're just trying to eat. You're desperate. You're desperate. That's
I think
fair.
it's different, right? Because usually it's like the guy approaching the girl, so like that's a different thing. Whereas like if you go and approach a girl and you strike out, then it's like, okay, well, there's no difference. It's different for your friend to go in versus him to go to a different friend.
Yeah.
From like a girl's perspective.
Yeah, I feel that. I'm kind of curious. I want to pick because we're on the guy side, right?
Yeah.
So like, because I was.
Are you?
It's 2023. There's no genders. I'm on a side.
There are genders.
Misquote.
But yeah, like, because at least how I perceive it, and I guess this goes into one of those things where you're like, I feel the thing with codes is, do we all have the same code book? Do we all have the same Bible? Or, but it's never spoken of. It's not like concrete, but it's like, generally understood. Because I'm thinking like guy code is like, maybe when you're like really young and like, we're like 18 or something or 16, you're like, oh, call dibs or whatever, right? Like, as you get older, you don't do that. That's kind of weird. But it's just one of the, I at least want to feel one of those things where it's like, you're out with the guys or whatever. And then you see someone like, hey, he's, maybe this girl's attractive, but she's clearly talking to your friend. They're laughing, having a good time. Like, I'd be like, hey, if it was me, I wish, but clearly it's not me. So you leave it alone.
Yeah, you leave it alone. You just like, if anything, you get your popcorn out. You start.
Yeah, sure.
I got a Snapchat ready, light flash on. I'm like, this one be for the books. This one be for the books.
Like that. He's his own main character over there.
Sure.
He's having his own movie, and I'm just there snacking down. I'm there to like partake, but I'm not there to interject. I think that's very weird. If someone's like, okay, my turn.
Yeah.
Or you come in like you like wingman. At best you wing. Do girls wing women each other?
You really don't need to, in my opinion. Like, it's
not that hard.
It's really not that hard. I have like very pretty friends also. Like, it's just, I've never felt the need to be like, don't worry, I got you.
Friends.
I mean, they're not in the room with us right now.
Pretty friends, are you here with us?
Yeah, right. Like,
Ouija board, just pretty friends.
I have another question for later.
Okay.
Cue that up. Anyway, I feel like the only time you wing woman is if it's like my friend that you're interested in, and then it's like, oh, let me introduce you guys, but it's not just like, oh, I see that cute guy, like help me out.
So you're the bridge. You
already
have an established connection.
Like there has to be a reason why it's me, or else I'm not helping you at all.
Okay. Well, then at least kind of lead to another idea. Like, we're all on the same friend group here. And like amongst the girls, whenever one was single, have you guys ever noticed like objectively that it's a good looking dude? And have you made the first approach where you would wingman, or like one of the friends have? Or is it usually like, I'm over here, I got my drink, I'm doing like 50 takes over there, hope he looks at me, and then if he doesn't come, he doesn't come? Like, have you guys ever damn, I wish I was a girl. That'd be...
Yeah, no, I'm not a big initiator
You're out
of
here.
like any sort. Like, yeah, even if I like actually liked a person, yeah, I don't think I would ever mention that myself. Like, I think I'd be like, well, if he lets me know he likes me, then maybe that'll be something. But I usually don't, and that you shouldn't do that. You should definitely just speak your truth. But
That's what I'm saying. I wish girls would be a little bit more for it. Like, just.
I guess it's a difference between like people kind of like around the world, right? Like I feel like in North America, it's always like guys approaching. Where I feel like other places I've gone to, I'm like, oh, like there's girls are like more for it, and that's just like a normal cultural thing.
Yeah, that's true. Instead of like this whole like peacocking, like look at me. Okay.
You're like stomping the yard.
Just
like I will like
loud noises.
Look. Like I'll give like a sign that it's okay to approach, but I won't.
Her sign is probably like. yeah. He's like, why does he look at me?
Give me a breakdown of your tell. Like, is it like
I'll make eye contact.
Like hard death stare across the let's say you're on
like
one
I will
side.
like hold eye contact, because it's very obvious if like, because guys will look like no matter what. If you're in one of those settings, whatever. So it's very obvious. I think you'd probably know it's obvious if you look at a girl and she like immediately looks away. You're not. Don't go over there. Don't go over there.
Start something over there.
Yeah, but even then, I don't really do that.
Okay. Do you like? I always hear that it's like the people say it's like you look one as like the the message, and then it's always the second one. First is like the and you make the first, and you're like, okay, wait, and you look back again, and you deadlock, and that's like the tell. Is that a thing?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, like just making it clear that like I don't mind that you're looking at me. Like I'm not trying to like, oh, don't look at me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But actually, I just unlocked a memory, and the reason why I didn't think of this at first is because I don't know if I've mentioned on here, but like my drunk alter ego, we call her Pam. Like that's not me.
Yeah, that's true.
whenever I do something that's very unlike me sober, I say that wasn't me. That was Pam. And my other friend group very much so will be like, oh, is Pam coming out tonight? And I'll be like, well, we just wait and see. We'll see if she awakens tonight. And this, during my like single stint that I've had for the last like year, Pam has been alive and well every once in a while, especially during the spring of like this year. Anyway, so Pam actually did approach somebody.
Oh.
Yeah, Pam was crazy. Let me tell this story. So
Pam is
basically,
strong and independent.
this is like probably one of the first times I'm like going out, and this is like entering my little phase or little season of like I'm down to go out and like dance with my friends and whatever, and I have no care in the world because I've got no one waiting for me at home, like whatever. So anyways, I go out. And there was like it wasn't like I'm gonna go out and see if I can find a cute boy. Like that's never been my goal. It's I want to go out and dance and drink with my friends.
Right.
So I'm like going out with my friend, and we meet up with like a couple mutual friends, and like his mutual friends. I didn't know these people. And we get to like the second place that we're at or whatever, and it starts to really hit me like I'm on like a new level of intoxicated, which drink responsibly.
Like
but
a Jekyll and Hyde. They're just like, oh
like,
no,
yeah,
Pam.
things are like moving like very
out.
like whoom, whoom, like things are going in and out. Like I remember just like being on the dance floor, and like things are just like swaying around me and everything's blurry, and it felt like it was just me. Like I don't think I was with anyone I knew. I was just like, this is amazing. I'm singing, and I like remember my like vision clears a little, and it's like one of the people that we like that I had just met.
Oh.
And I like kind of see, and he's talking to another girl. So this is not girl code because he's talking to another girl.
Damn.
No, but hear me out.
Pam.
I know Pam doesn't believe in the girl code. He's talking to this other girl. I don't know her.
And she doesn't matter.
She doesn't matter. Pam doesn't care.
Pam's
on
care.
the prowl. I blink. This is how it happens in my memory, in Sam's memory. Don't know about Pam. I blink and I open my eyes, and I'm now where that girl was, and I'm staring at this guy, and I don't know where she went. Like I could have eaten her. I could have honestly just.
You came in with a haymaker.
She's on the floor, but you're too drunk. You don't see her.
Literally, I was like, oh. Anyway, and I'm now conscious that I'm in front of this person, and I was like, oh, and I could very much tell that like I had just shown up and been like, let's get out of here. Like that was my energy. I know, it was crazy. And yeah, we did.
Pam
But
1, other girl 0.
No, literally, that was. And I actually had a conversation with him later. I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." In my memory, I remember you were talking to this other girl, and he was like, "Yeah, she was really, really mad at you." And I was like, "That's fair. That is so fair." But it was Pam, so she actually shouldn't be mad at me.
I wish I could like be third person that interaction.
I know.
Because it's just like, how abrupt was it? Were you just like,
Well, I don't know.
Tap tap, you're hot.
I don't know, because in my memory it was so like instant, but there must have been something that I was missing, because we were already mid conversation when I came back to awareness. Like I must have like blacked out a little and then came back to him and was like, hello.
You like walked up to her. You're like, honey, I think you need to fix your makeup. That way.
I know. What if I said something really bad? Or maybe she walked away and I was like, this is my time.
Or one of
This
them
is
wasn't
my
so
time.
graceful, and Sam was like just like drunk playing with her straw
I was,
in
like,
her cup,
crawling on the floor.
And the guy's like, what is this? But it was so off-putting that he just kept looking, and he's like, I need to know.
It's like a car crash.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know what this is, but what are you?
I know. Yeah, I would never do. That's so out of character for me.
Yeah.
But great story. Maybe
That's
for
a
a
good
really good
story.
story.
So funny.
Yeah.
That's a good
That's so
story.
funny.
That's a good
I
story.
wish I could like find the date and pull like the security footage and just get like an
know.
overhead angle.
I know.
at, like,
Well,
all
I
this
actually
going-
asked him too. I like later I was like, "What? How did this happen?" Because this is what happened in my memory. And he was like, "No, you just basically walked over here and you were like, hello."
The guy's like, hey, my name's blah blah. What's your name? Behind him, my name is Sam.
It's Pam. Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good. What's like so what's like a between the girl and boy codes, right? What are like some codes that stand out for you that you feel like are strongly, not even just like maybe gender bias, just something you believe in is like the right thing to do as a person?
Well, I think. Well, I don't know. Right thing to do as a
I mean,
person.
just not the right thing, but it's like, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
it's like,
You're
it's
talking
like
about like how like where they overlap,
or
like how they're
like,
because I
ones
feel
that
like
you
there's
have.
certain things that like it's not gender biased. It's like that's just the right thing. Like for example, like dating someone's ex or something like that. Like that, I feel like that's not a gender biased thing. It's more like
Yeah.
like hey, like
a
personally,
relatively
I just
no-go,
I
yeah.
just don't date friends' exes. That's just a no go, right? Like that's one I live by strongly. Like, do you guys have one? or you like really like? Because I know some people who don't. They're like, oh, like if it's been long enough to with a new person, I ask, and I get respect and like whatever, then they're okay. But I can't do that.
I think there's like always nuance with that because I've just been lucky that I've never been in that situation where any of my friends have wanted to date my exes, and I've never wanted to date any of my friends' exes. So that's like worked out well. But yeah, like I would say that that's a pretty big like no-go for me.
No-go for you?
Personally.
Yeah, I think that's too much history. It just feels weird.
Yeah.
I can't.
I don't know. I feel like you're starting on uneven playing ground kind of thing.
Totally.
And I mean, there definitely will be like situations out there where there's like one-offs where it makes sense, but I think as like a easy like blanket rule, I'm like, probably don't do that.
Let's just not
kind
do
of
that.
thing.
I think there's enough people out there to not have to double dip into the same.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I would go by like degrees of separation, where it's like if we're talking like circles, like
Totally.
innermost circle, then 1 degree out there. Like for me, is a no-fly zone. I talk about like when I say like I guess the third circle is like, hey, maybe we do know each other, but we're more acquaintances. Maybe like we met through friend of a friend. I'll say what's up, but like if I saw you somewhere like across the mall, I'm not gonna go out of my way to say like, oh, what's up? I'm be like, hey, I know that person.
Yeah.
Like I'd be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Like I feel like if we don't have risk of being in the same friend group, then maybe.
Yeah. Like if I don't personally invite you to my birthday, it's okay. But if I do, or like if I want you there on my wedding day or something, like I'm never,
right? Like, that's
I'm never
crazy.
touching your
Yeah,
ex.
that's
Like
crazy.
never.
Yeah,
That's too crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't have that many like bro code things, but in my head I have like my friend codes. It's like
Yeah,
just
those
like
valid.
if we're going out, make sure everyone gets home okay, make sure like everyone is alive and
Get home
well, and
dangerous.
everyone like checks in and get home dangerous.
Yeah, I'm dangerous.
Yeah. But I feel like there's a lot of just like common courtesy code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I feel like for girls and probably for guys too, like I feel like there's a universal code of like you will have your back no matter what kind of thing. But I think what's changed over the years, at least for me and like my friends, and maybe you can speak to your experience, but like now we're less like, yeah, we support you for everything. Now it's like, we're not going to rat you out, but like, I'm going to lecture you really hard. Like that was not cool, but I'm not going to tell on you for doing that whack shit that you just did and put you on blast.
Yeah, that's some true friendship code. Like I'll never snitch, but you better get an earful because like
Yeah, like that was not.
at the end of the day, I hope you know like you're probably gonna be living with something worse than what I'm gonna tell you or whatever you did.
Yeah.
And like whatever happens, you're still my homie, but like that was whack.
Yeah, like
that was
grow your
whack.
friends.
Yeah. Like don't just like let them blindly be like, oh yeah, I support you to do
Yeah,
whatever
don't be
dumb
a yes
shit.
man towards this ignorant behavior.
Yeah.
Would you consider yourself a yes man?
I think like there's always just the mentality of like, yo, that's pretty down.
Yes.
I think
about
it's
to say.
difference between being down and being a yes man.
Yeah. I'm a down man. Like I'm down for a lot. I'm down for a lot of things. Like even if they're pretty dumb, but if it crosses certain boundaries, like where it's like doing like whack things, then like no, I'm not gonna be down. But if it's like you want to drink at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday and wake up hungover, I'd be like, yeah, sure.
It's pretty down.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, you want to go skinny dipping during winter? Yeah, okay, sure.
Twisted my arm.
Yeah. But not like, you want to go rob a bank? Actually, I might be down.
Cut that.
The logistics. It makes sense.
It makes sense, I guess. Is it fun? Maybe. Yeah. That's right. I feel like with friends, friend code is like, especially another one for me. I think as we get older, like, you get adult income. So, you're like, I feel like for me, as I get older, I'm a little less more about money when it comes to friends. Like it used to be when we were young, right? Like $20 went a long way. So it used to be like, hey guys, can we like split this or like get them back right away? But as I get older, I'm like, hey, and I appreciate these now too as friends where it's like, oh, let's say, today we got Uber Eats, right? And like Sam paid for it. It's like, okay, well, you want to get the next one? Like, even if it's off by like $1, $5, whatever. It doesn't
You owe me
matter.
$20.
After this
My
podcast,
e-transfer is
Yeah, you got me this time.
yeah.
no. Anyone but John.
Yeah, like like you just like, oh, it'll come, right? It'll come in one way or another. Yeah,
Especially if like you're inviting someone out, you maybe haven't seen them in a long time. It's like, no, this one's on me. I'm just happy to see you.
Yeah. I agree. Even the little things too when it comes to like e-transferring. This is
Yeah.
one thing I like. It's the smallest
Round
weird
up.
thing. Round up. Yes, round up. Where it's like 8764. I'm sending you. sometimes I just said 90. I'm like, or just like, I get it. You do like 88, but I'm like, it's $2, man. Like, whatever. It's just, for me, I'm like, probably e-transfer you like in bed. I'm like,
Tip.
90 is way easier than 87.64. I'm not pressing 4 buttons. I'm just sending 90. You didn't go. Call it a day, right?
Yeah, I feel like for me, it's not being super nitpicky about like the exact scent that we have to like if we're going out for a meal and like I ate 3 more pieces of that than you did, like please, let's not go there. Or like, especially if it's not like, if you're going out in a big group and like, let's say like some people don't drink and some people do. Cause I feel like that used to happen a lot where like some people drink a lot more or they're drinking and some people's not. But I think it's like, if you're not going to participate, you have to like say that at the beginning. Like you got to be like, yo, this is how I want to do things, or don't go, or like whatever, just to make it. Because I think for me, it's more about like convenience. Like how can I make sure it's like as seamless as possible so that people aren't having to like split hairs over whipping out an Excel spreadsheet and having to do like crazy math and all this stuff. Like I'm just like, I'd rather keep it as simple as possible, which kind of is the same thing as like rounding up on e-transfer. It's just very like, let's keep it as easy and brainless as possible, because I'm not trying to start fights over 20 cents.
Like the MO was, we're here to have a good time with friends. If it costed $20, it costs $20. Like call it a day, right? The price on friendship is priceless.
Or worthless.
It could be worthless.
Depends. But yeah, no, those are some good codes. You guys any go? What? Honestly, I'm curious because like I feel like I'm so curious about girl code still. Like, because you never really hear of it. It's always like bro code. Like, what are some things that, to you at least, that you feel like it's never talked about on like social media or like you live by?
I feel like one is just like is being like pretty aware and like pretty. Let me explain this better. I feel like we're very hyper aware if any guy starts bad mouthing another girl, even if we're closer to the guy. So for example, if like, let's say our friends are like hanging out and like most of our friends in our friend group are boys, if one of them starts like bad mouthing their girlfriend and she's not there, we'll like support you and whatnot and be like, oh yeah, like that's kind of like whatever. But then there's like a level it gets to where we're like, what'd you say? Like, what? Actually, you're wrong.
Say that again.
Yeah, exactly.
Say it again.
Bet you won't say it again into this microphone. Yeah. Like, there is like a level of, it doesn't matter how far removed you are. In my mind, and I think in a lot of my girlfriends' minds, like, if you're a girl, you're a girl. Like, that's, we got your back no matter what. It doesn't matter if you're less close to us than the guy talking to us. You're still part of the girl code, you know what I mean?
Okay. Do we have that? I feel like
I don't know. I feel like we're just there. I don't even remember half the things I say.
I think I follow that to suit, but it's like regardless of you're a girl, like it's just friends.
I feel like as well, like if a girl was blatantly talking about a guy that she's with,
valid,
then we would just be like, yeah, that makes sense.
That's so valid. So
you're
valid.
right.
Yeah.
Let me add on to that.
Yeah, I think that's what it is you can always tell there's just like a tone of like, I kind of like look down and I'm like, oh no, we're going in for reparations now. Like now we're fighting for our rights.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, I respect that. Okay, how about this? Do you feel like there's going along with that? You know how like there's that code or that thing is like, if I hear something, I tell my partner. Are you okay with that? Is that like where it's, because usually I don't know. I feel like it's pretty normal now where I'm like, if I tell Sean something, I'm sure Catherine's gonna know it. Or that's kind of like a weird partner code thing.
Yeah,
I feel
agree.
like you do it too, where you're like,
like unless that person explicitly tells me don't tell your partner, because I think that's the other thing that's tough in our friend group is a lot of our partners are also part of the friend group. So it's like you view them as whoever you're talking to's partner, but you also view them as another one of your friends. And like there's certain times where you want to talk to that friend versus another friend, and it just so happens that they're both dating. So I think there are situations where it's like, please don't tell this person. I'll tell them later, or like I'll talk to them when I'm ready. And I think that needs to be respected. And I respect that, but I also think that if I'm not going to explicitly say that, I am assuming that both parties will know. And almost I use that to my advantage. I'm like, you go spread the word. Like, I don't want to have two separate conversations.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, you go tell your boyfriend, girlfriend, like, great. And then two birds, one stone. Like, we're
So
doing
efficient.
so efficient.
out there.
Exactly. I'm like, all right, tell your people.
Yeah, tell your people talk about people. Yeah.
I know. I really like gossip. I really like being
Oh
a
my
part
gosh,
of
Sean
gossip.
is so bad. I know
But
what you're
I'm
going to say.
also, a lot of the times, somehow I find myself in the know. And maybe it's because I always forget. But like, I'll have something. And maybe for like a couple weeks. And then my partner will come to me. She's like, you wouldn't believe what I just found out. And I'll be like, oh yeah, I knew that. And she's
like
just...
months ago. Like
and
months
she'll be
ago.
like, and you didn't think to tell me? I'm like, oh, I didn't remember it till now. I'm just like living in my own world, like,
Like, what are you thinking about and what are you talking about? If you're not talking about just like random things that happened to
I don't
you,
know. I like, I'll be in the conversation, I'll register it, we'll talk about it, and then I'm like, it's gone. It's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if it's jogged, I'll bring it up. And sometimes I do. And sometimes like a long time has passed. And then every time she'll come to me, she's like, so like, what's new? Like, what do you got? What are you holding out? I'm like, I don't know. And then like later that night, I'll be like, oh.
Dude, it's usually something juicy too.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that meme where it's like how guys when they hang out, like nothing is planned or there's no details. Like, so what are you
Oh
doing
my god,
today?
yeah.
I don't know, hang out with Sean. What are you guys gonna do? I don't know, we'll figure it out. Comes back. Oh, you guys have a good time? Yeah. What'd you guys do? Oh, we just like played some games and talked. What you guys talk about? Things.
Yeah.
There was a whole trend about that on TikTok like a few months ago where it was like, I just overheard my like boyfriend talking to his best friend. They've known each other for like 18 years, and he just asked him what he did for work. Like just like random
crazy.
shit where they're like
Crazy.
talking about only really like surface level or like, hey, how's it going? Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, okay, cool. How's your day? Kind of thing. And then they don't really know anything about each other. But we've passed that.
Oh, as friends, we passed that. I think we're at a point now we know
too much.
We know too much to the point where it's like we can't even see each other often anymore. Like we need time to deliberate. Like,
I've
new
been
things.
finding that with my friends too. I'm like, I need to bank some good conversation topics before I can see that person again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, like for people who don't know, at least with our friend group, I don't know if it's unique to us. Like I think historically, our friend group grew, but historically, when we were in high school, we just had a phase where we were just obsessed with each other. We like hung out like.
Oh my god, yeah, that one.
daily,
When I first joined this
every
group, we
day.
hung out every single day. I
Year
was
of the
like,
Sam
what are
was
we
lit.
doing?
Year of the Sam was lit.
Well, we all used to, a lot of us went to school together, we played sports
Yeah.
together, and then we worked with each other.
Yeah.
So we're just used to like being around each other like 24/7.
Yeah. It was very like How I Met Your Mother-y. Like,
Yeah.
we were hanging out all the time.
Every day. It was like a
Yeah.
whole. We used to call our friendship in seasons and arcs. We'd be like, "This is a season of like this person or that person."
And I remember it would be like every year we'd like adopt maybe like 2 people.
Yeah.
And it'd be like really exciting. There's a new person.
Like, oh, who is this?
yeah, change the dynamic just slightly.
It's
And
new
that's
spice.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like we go hard for like 4 months, and then we're
Yeah,
like,
that's the thing is we just had so much energy.
that's so much energy.
Energy, and we were all working like shift jobs that like were kind of similar in schedules. Like I feel like there was a lot of time for us to hang out.
Now we're like,
Tired.
I see you once a week, maybe once a month.
Yeah.
But it gives so much more time to talk about things.
For
too.
sure.
Yeah. I think too, we're like all of us are like in like long-term relationships. So I think our conversation have shifted to more about like
was
mental
like,
health.
no.
I mean, not you, not me.
Not me. Yeah, I was like the majority.
We were
in
the
here.
minority though.
Yeah, that's
we're
true,
technically
that's
the
true.
minority.
No, for the longest time it was just me. Everyone was in a relationship except for sorry.
wait.
Everyone was in a relationship except for me for like
Just for
a
you.
good amount of this past.
Was it?
Yeah. Which was rare
Maybe.
because it was
That's true.
usually just me in a relationship prior to that. I feel
We have some stone key piece players that
Yeah,
are
yeah,
like
yeah.
they're like locked in. It's just whenever the date is the wedding, and then some of us are like,
I'm
maybe
still
I'll
a
make it
wild
to
card. I don't
second
know.
year. you
Approaching their 10-year
You're part of
anniversary.
the vanguards of love.
The vanguards.
I
of
call them
love.
the vanguards of love. It's you and 2 other people where it's like, if you guys ever break up, there's love ain't real. Like love is not real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
What are some like couple codes? I have one where I was thinking where I was like, at least this is me. I prefer where like obviously if you have say my partner's like, hey, I need to speak to my friend. like my good friend just to get another point of view, then like do you, right? Like it's good to speak to anyone but me, but I still prefer where it's like it's something like really personal to our relationship. We keep it that where I don't want to all of a sudden find out like 4 people were just like, yo man, what's going on?
Yeah, heard you did that. Yeah,
yeah. Whereas like if it's like, you know, let's like Kath to like Sam or something like best friends, then like I could get that, right? It's like one person or like 2, but if it's like random party and then I'm like someone's like, you do that? I was like, what?
Okay, yeah, I agree with that. I think going back to what we said before, I want my partner to tell me everything. I like details. Like I want to know everything that has happened, everything that someone has said to you, and like I want to know all those things just because I don't know. I think that's really interesting, and I like talking about it.
Yeah.
And I'll do the same. Like I'm about to tell you everything that went down, and so I want that same energy back. I usually don't get that back. Like that's from the guys that I've.
They're like, yeah, we talked.
Dated.
It was nice.
Yeah.
We just talk about it and stuff.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you're like, I don't want my friends to have drama in their life. I need a little bit.
But when it is, it's just like
so good.
You get to follow it almost like your own like personal sitcom.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And you're not like talking shit. You're just like updating. You're
Yeah.
just like, and then this happened. I'm like, whoa.
Like that's obscene.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know he said that. Yeah, that kind of thing. Anyway, so I think that I agree with you in the sense that like there are like very personal things that like happen between our relationship that I want to stay between our relationship. And like there's no reason to invite other people's opinions into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certain level of like privacy you need to like
sure.
uphold, or else everything is just like, hey, you're my partner. I'm not dating everyone here, right? That would be too much. And in like circumstances where you're having like some sort of fight afterward, when it's fully resolved, everyone's on the same page, then it can be shared.
Yeah.
But if it's shared like during and to too many people and like everyone knows, then it's like it's like a weird sense of like, okay, who's talking about me kind of
Yeah,
thing. So
that's
just the
true.
privacy aspect I think is
And
huge in a relationship.
I even think like it doesn't help like the people in the relationship either. I used to do that all the time where like if I was having some sort of like thing with my partner, if I was annoyed at my partner, I would immediately go tell my friends about it. And then like their opinions obviously being on your side and being like they suck and like whatever really doesn't help the situation because you're like, you're right, they do suck.
Yeah,
I have been wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then you just like get into this like group mindset of like, yeah, fuck that guy and like whatever. You're like, oh no. And then it's not good.
You get reaffirmed, but it's like it's because this is why like going back to what we were talking about earlier, where I want real friends where it's like you go, I'm like, Sean, you're on my side, right? Like, you're being dumb. I'm like, oh, okay, you right.
Yeah, but you're notorious for doing it anyway. I'll be like, yo, you're being pretty dumb. You're like, I've already decided I'm doing it. That's your whole MO. I'm like, all right, that was good. I'm so glad you consulted me.
And Sam does a really good thing where like she always like, all right, you want me to listen or you're looking for confirmation, or do you want like some real talk? Because like Sam knows me well enough where sometimes I go in, I'm like, I'm pretty preset, but I'm looking for a little.
I'm like, don't waste my
extra
breath.
nudge.
Okay,
Yeah.
tell me what I should be doing.
Yeah. So she's like, lay it down, like right now before you start talking. What do you want? I'm like, man.
Sometimes I love your presets. Like you're in a situation with someone else and they're kind of being crazy and you're just like, yo, like you want to go dumb? I'll go dumb with you. And you're just like, you're almost like trying to out dumb each other and it just escalates so fast and it's just like, I'm just there with my popcorn, you know?
You're like, yep, this is going down.
I would like to say I've grown from that, but definitely young Ivan was toxic because like I think my mindset was like, oh, you going crazy, I'll go crazy. Cause it's like okay, kids, I don't know if this is gonna make sense, but it's like when you have one cat, right? and, you know, this is gonna be random. So if you just have a lone cat and it was like never around other kittens, like they bite and they'll bite you and it hurts, right? But usually when you have like two cats that grew up together and they like bite each other, they know that, oh, this hurts. So they actually, when it comes like play fighting, biting, they actually don't fully bite. So that's like what the two cats I have at home and like other cats. So that's my logic where it's like, you go crazy, you do something, let me go crazy with you, so hopefully you see it, so you won't go crazy again.
I thought you were taking this analogy in a totally different
I know.
way.
I was like, okay,
I thought
he's
you
a
were gonna be
single
like, oh,
child.
I'm the single cat, and now like I'm learning more.
Yeah,
But you're like,
no.
no. Like, let me show you.
I'm trying to be like two cats where we're like, let's come
I'm
out
the
of this-
second cat.
Let's kind of be learning together. But now I'm like that. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't not work like that.
So funny.
Yeah, definitely. Relationship 1 and 2 for me was a lot of two cat energy.
That was such a good analogy until I realized how you were
talking
relating
about,
to it.
And I was like, and we've lost it. We've actually lost it.
I was like, you were building up. You had so much there, and you're like, oh.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't know. But I'm better now. I'm good.
Okay. What do you think? Speaking of like previous relationships, what do you think you're like way better at now that you were like really bad at in your earlier relationships?
Well,
I'm still
bad at communication, right? Like I think I'm miles better, but I think it's still not my strong suit. It's still like I'll be out doing things or working, and then like, or I'll be out with my friends, and my friend gets a call, and they're like, "Hey, your girlfriend's looking for you." I'm like, "Oh no, I haven't looked at my phone in 4 hours."
You're just being so present.
I just get so caught up, you know.
Yeah.
Just living in the moment here.
Yeah,
So
fair
communication is something I've worked on, but not something I'm good at.
But you're good at like other parts of communication, like conflict communication or like whatever, right? It's just daily communication.
It's like I think it's like an
Checking
ADHD
in,
thing.
yeah,
I think
like-
it's like object permanence.
Okay.
Like if it's there, then
Right,
like
yes.
it exists, and
Yes.
if I don't see it, like it's not in the forefront of my mind,
Right.
right? So now I have to actively.
What girlfriend?
No, I have to like actively like bring it back into like the setting I'm in
Okay.
because I'm just here. I'm just
Right.
I'm just
Okay.
chilling, you know.
You
yeah.
just do your thing.
Yeah, I'm just doing my thing.
Yeah.
Just doing my thing.
Okay.
What about you, Ivan? I want to know what.
Same.
you
I
have
looked
gotten
directly
better
at you and was like, "What are things that you have been?"
Yeah, I think there's a lot. And like the Ivan dating lore is like after, not my recent ex, but like the one before that. I took like a long break from dating because I'm like I got a lot of things to figure out. There's like because I think that ex was like, damn, Ivan, you just gotta like really evaluate who you are and think about things. And because I think a lot of things was, I remember, there were some big things where she's mentioned to me and I had to come in and be like, yeah, I was so aware of it in the beginning, I just forgot it over time, where I'm like not being cognizant of certain things that maybe she needs a little bit more time to, maybe work on herself or do other things, where I was very just like, I'm like, go, gotta do this. So from there, I think a big thing was just being more cognizant about my partner, just remembering, who they are, where they come from, their own little things that they've shared and how that they could affect them and little day-to-day things, right? It could be like how they operate in life, how maybe they go about things. So just being more aware of that. So, just having that. And then communication as well. But I think my communication, instead of not talking about my partner, is I would still say in some ways I am, but a big bottler. Because I'm very like, if no one can fix, if I can't fix it, like I think I'm the person who fixes it, right?
You are like that.
But then like, a lot of times my partner's like, you could share with me and maybe work it through. So I think that's something I got a lot better with. But still, I'm very like, in a way, just like Sean, like encapsulate my own world in some ways. But when it comes to like texting my partner, I'm fine.
Got that in the bag.
I know she's there. She's real. She exists.
I built up this routine in my day, and I've dropped this routine since, but it was really good. Is every time I would eat a meal at work, I would just take a picture of the meal and send it off to my partner, because I would be like, okay, hey, I like built some sort of system. I want to make sure like I talk to you at some point, and it was my way of like
Every
kind of
4
like
hours.
having like a reminder.
Yeah.
So I had to do a couple things to do that. I think that helped. I think
Yeah.
I don't have that system because
She
I'm a
liked
little
that
bit
too.
better
She's
at
like,
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sean's lunch.
Sometimes she'd be at like home starving, and she's like, I don't want to see this right now.
You're like, look at my
She's like, oh,
delicious
so now
pasta.
So now you're just rubbing it in. Huh?
No, it was when Sean had like a stint of like sending it to multiple people. But like we don't have that context. Like we're not like, oh, his meal.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you showing me this chicken right now? Like,
a good-ass
interesting.
chicken.
Yeah. Like, interesting.
Thank you for showing me. But yeah, that was a good system you had.
That's good.
It was good.
Have you like added onto the system? Like, because right now the way you're explaining it, I'm like, He's like, good morning, check. Lunch,
Well,
check.
now they live together, so
Good
that's
night. Oh, yeah, that's
slightly
true.
better.
Yeah, that's true. The
That's
dynamic
true.
has changed.
Yeah. Like, how has it evolved?
Well, now it like because before our schedules are totally different. We'd maybe see each other like once or twice a week, whereas now we cohabitate, so it's like a lot easier to just have a little bit more time to catch up. So it doesn't go as long lengths without communication as it would before.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I know it's your weekend and. You know, the new Street Fighter came out. You haven't messaged me in 72
No,
hours.
literally,
Oh
she'd
my
be like, "It's
God.
been 24 hours." I'm like, "Is he alive?" And she's like, "I don't know." I'm like, "Oh,
Imagine
fair
like
enough."
another universe, like out of pocket Sean, where instead of like the update, like this is my meal, he's just like, I'm at the club with the boys. Doesn't say anything else. He's just like, I'm drinking again.
It's
Or
like, hey, I'm thinking of you.
He's just like, what the hell?
She's like, well, at least he's thinking.
Yeah,
of
he's
me.
just thinking of me.
great.
That's real.
Yeah,
That's
that's
pretty
all you
good.
need to know.
Yeah, no, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
What about you, Sam? For
Yeah,
your,
yeah,
Oh,
true.
there's
where you've gotten better.
lots. I think the number one thing that I realized was like I never prioritized my partner, and I knew I didn't, but thought that wasn't a problem. Like I was like, I have other priorities, and I would make it like pretty known too. It wasn't just like, oh, they're not a priority in my head. It was like, no, you're not. No, you're not my priority. And yeah, I was so like in my head being like, oh, this is such a good thing. I'm like an independent person and I have like other things I'm working towards and whatever. But like, be a little bit nicer to your partner. Like,
You're here for my convenience.
literally, I think I had like a very like selfish mindset without really knowing that I did. But at the same time, I did know. I just didn't attribute it to like a negative trait. I was just like, oh, that's just who I am as a person. I'm not very like affectionate and I'm not very like this and whatever. And I think it's also very telling that like it depends on the person that I'm with, because a lot of those things have like come out depending on like who I'm with or if I'm like in a good place with my partner. So yeah, for the most part, I would say like the majority of it was me just like, also being in my own world and being like, yeah, we got problems.
We're just too strong independent, guys.
We got fucking problems. Yeah.
Oh.
Whereas like I feel like the situation I'm in right now with my partner is like very like I'm noticing a large difference. Where I'm like, oh, I actually am willing to like prioritize you as a person, and I've never done that ever.
That's good. That's
I
really
know
good.
it's
That's really
crazy. It is, and I think it's also just like the place I am in my life now, where I've like settled in a lot of other things, like my career and like like my living standards, and like I'm feeling good about like my family dynamic and my friendship dynamics. And now I feel like I have so much more energy to put into something that like before was always like a bonus to me. Like a relationship was always a bonus, not like a necessity. So yeah, I feel very different now.
That's good. It's like you built the foundation for yourself and now you have more to offer to another person.
Totally.
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I agree. Like, I think that's a big aspect too about, one, being in a relationship where it's like for all of us, you're learning as you go on to like multiple, different partners. And, because that's growing, right? Like, it's how you figure out what your wants and needs in a relationship. But it's also too, like, another big thing, at least I'm learning is, because with that note, I was very similar with my last partner where I wouldn't prioritize it, but I felt like I was still doing everything else right, where I'm like, it's like, oh, I'm just being like, I'm really busy, I'm hustling, I'm doing all these things. And it wasn't just for me, I was like trying to build a foundation for us where I'm like, hey, like I'm doing this, like you go do your thing. But sometimes it's not always like that. Your partner needs a little bit more. And I think the difference between like us is like, I'm not as concrete in certain areas. So I think it's like pretty big, whereas like, getting that like career and like living space and friends where you're concrete and then you can really give yourself to someone like also makes a big difference.
Totally. And it depends on like for a lot of my previous relationships, it was even more evident that this was happening because they were in like a very different place and like they were prioritizing the relationship like way more than like maybe an average person or whatever. So like the difference was just like huge. Whereas I feel like if you're both in a place where you're working on your own things and whatever, and you're both not prioritizing, that works. But if you're in a place where you're both prioritizing, that works. It's when like one is kind of doing one thing and the other is doing a different thing. And I think the other thing that I would get really caught up on, maybe I just think I'm perfect. Like, I don't know, but I would,
Yeah.
it was
Yo, cheers to that.
it was like really eye-opening to like look back on the situation. I think when you're in the situation, whenever things are like not going well, it's very easy to be like, oh, it's because like they don't like do certain things or whatever, or like it's because we have like a rocky dynamic or whatever, and it's hard to like be like, no, it's because I'm doing some certain things also.
Wow, it's not me, it's you.
It's not me. Even going back to the other one, it's the right person, wrong time. Like these little things are very like they're kind of real. Like she says they are.
Yeah, like I would think like in my previous relationship, if I wasn't, if there was like an issue about like our closeness or whatever, I'd be like, oh, it's probably because like we're not like right for each other. Not me thinking like I should like do a little bit more, like give effort or whatever. Like I would usually go to like, guess it's not right then. And we're out.
Left.
Oh man.
When it comes to like ending things with a partner, are you usually like someone who can do that like pretty easily, or do you have to like take a long time to like think about it and noodle on it and like really make sure that you don't want to be with this person anymore and then pull the trigger?
That's hard because I've been in a relationship for a long time, and then previous ones, it was when you're still like growing and learning a lot about yourself, and like no one knows how to date properly, how to like be a good partner. So a lot of the time it'd be like, oh, like maybe we're just like growing, and you haven't had enough experience to be like, oh, this person isn't changing a certain thing.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's hard to say. I feel like I would be someone who, if someone's values didn't align with mine, it'd be pretty easy for me.
Yeah.
But I just haven't been in that position.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, I'm usually pretty sure when I break up with someone. It doesn't take a lot of time per se. But also, like, I haven't really, like, delved into that development yet personally in terms of my own, like, self-awareness in that aspect. All I can know is, like, I used to take, like, a long time to get into a relationship. But I really like to make sure, like, this is who I want to be with and do stuff. So far with a lot of my breakups, it seems, at least to me thinking about them right now, like, it's usually pretty, like, hey, yeah, I've thought about this. It's probably not going to work. But that's just me saying that right now.
Yeah.
Like, it could be a little bit more. Like, I'm not sure. Because I know it was my last breakup. I think I was out of it a lot longer than I thought. But I didn't really, fully come to where I'm like, okay, maybe this isn't working until she was vocalizing certain things she was unhappy about. And, like, I have this rule of thumb where it's, like, as soon as my partner... Whereas, like, you know, we'll have, like, disagreements or this and that. But if my partner is like, hey, I'm actually... not as happy or not as happy as one thing, I'm like, oh, that's a red alarm button. Then I'm like, okay, let's really sit down and think about versus like, hey, like, can we do a little bit of this more? Like, yeah, can we work on this? I'm like, oh yeah, for sure. So I think when that comes about, then I really thought about it. Then I was like, wait, maybe this isn't it for us, right? So so far it's like I want to say I do think about it, but sometimes once again I'm just lost in the sauce.
Yeah, that's
like,
fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
I think about it forever. I will stay in it for so long. I'll stay in it like 6 months, a year. Like it's like
that's admirable.
No, it's not. It's a waste of everyone's fucking time. It's actually a waste of everyone's time.
Delusional.
I've never
I can change him.
It's not even. Yeah, it's not even I can change him. It's like maybe I just won't care as much. Like maybe I'll get used to this.
This is because you're trying though. Like I'm sure some part of you is like maybe this is like a phase or maybe like it's something weird, right?
Yeah,
that's why I say it's admirable.
I'm not very good at like trusting my intuition. Like I'm like, oh, it's just because it's a phase, or like I'm stressed with other things and that's like bleeding into whatever. It's good in the sense that I'm like. When I am sure, I'm really sure, but it's taken so long and I probably could have made that decision earlier. It's more so like I need to be better at understanding why I'm feeling that way and then deducing whether or not that's like a non-negotiable or not. Like I just look at it as like a holistic, oh, this is kind of a problem. Like, oh, let's just see what goes down. But like I could pretty much like objectively look and be like, that's a big problem. That's like not going to change. And it's like a big factor and could have made that decision earlier. Like even in my last relationship, I definitely could have made that so much earlier. But then I get really caught up in like, but we've like been through so much together and like I still care for you and whatever. But
it's like sunken cost fallacy.
100%. It totally is. And then I like forget about the fact that if I want to make it work with this person, I have to fucking live with them for 50 years. Like you gotta just let it go. Like let it go.
Yeah.
I'm like a super big believer of like cards on the table, right? Like I just have everything, go out there, right? And if there's certain things that I feel like I need to say, like I want to be able to say them, and I want my partner to be able to say them back. I don't want to get to a point where all of a sudden I'm in like the danger zone and there's so much conflict without having previous conversations about it. Because I as soon as these things come up, you know, if you deal with them, that they don't bottle up, they don't like, you know, build pressure, and then you can actually see if you can continuously grow with the person. Versus if you just get to like these end points where there's so much like tension and all that, that's when you're
hard to get out
more
of that.
likely, because then you're more likely to, you know, speak out of line. Maybe you're just so frustrated that you say something that you might regret, right? So it's like the little small conversations I feel are super healthy.
I agree. Like transparency, and also like it's also good when you're in a relationship and you guys are like comfortable with saying things. Like no one's out here to be winners or losers. I think that's a big thing when it comes to like talking with your partner. So winners or losers. So being transparent, just saying, hey, I'm not here to hurt you. I'm not here to do anything. We're just talking, and we're trying to like grow from it. And like actually, I think at least one thing I would say I learned from like my relationship experience. I always like to ask after every talk, like, do you feel good about what we talked about? And do you feel okay? Because if they're not, I'm like, hey, that means
Gotta run it back.
like something weird happened, or like I did something bad because you're not feeling okay. But if you can tell confidently, it's like, no, I feel hurt, I feel good. I'm like, okay, cool. Like then we're out somewhere. Because then usually it's like those little things where it's like they're like little chips, you know, maybe they say they're okay, but they're not. It's gonna be like that build up where like they're gonna feel frustrated. They're gonna come back, and you're like, oh, I thought we were good.
That's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah,
Also communicating like that.
Yeah. I was just having this talk with Catherine the other day of it's like very interesting if you don't see certain traits, you don't know they exist. And so like I always knew there was like obviously things wrong in my previous relationships, which is why they're my previous relationships. But I also like couldn't necessarily pinpoint exactly what I was missing or like what was like really wrong or what I was really craving, because I had just never seen it in any of them. So I was just like, okay, I almost like convinced myself like this is the reality of what it's like to date someone, and I just need to find like the best reality like
it's like
here.
You don't know what you don't have.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know that there's actually this like really amazing like trait or like this really amazing experience, because I've just like only experienced this level on this little graph, this little interval, and now I'm just trying to get as close to what I've seen, like the best of what I've seen, and like remove some of these like ugly bits in the back. But what I've realized like now, which is also weird because you can see them in your friends and you don't, like I would never apply them to my relationship. Like I would say like a lot of the things that I craved in a relationship were things that like existed in people I knew already, but not people I've dated. And so I like separated them, which is weird.
Like you're like, these are friendship traits and these are like,
yeah, I get like or I guess for me it was like, oh, those are like my girlfriend traits. Like maybe I won't find that in like a guy partner, you know, I don't know. Anyway, so the one thing I've recently discovered is like someone who just like really understands you as like a person, whereby you don't need to explain yourself. I feel like I spent so much of my life explaining myself. Like it's crazy.
Damn, that seems like a pretty basic one. I don't know. But that's fair.
I always thought like it only makes sense that if you're entering a relationship with a completely separate human, that how would they fully understand you, right?
Yeah.
But like, so I always just assume like, okay, I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to like communicate the shit out of like every thought and whatever that I have to this person so that they understand me. And in my previous relationships, there was a lot of like curation. Like I'd be like, okay, I need to like say it in this way so that I can get the best response from them and like make sure that it doesn't offend them and whatever. And there was just like so much like pre-work just to say something, which is
stressful.
It's so stressful. And that's honestly why like prior to our, I don't know, October of this year, whatever, fall, a few months ago, I was like, honestly, at such a low point of like, I might have to do this alone. I might have to get to the place where I'm just like happy with my friends and like happy with my like own self. Because like, it is so tiring. I was like, I can't do this for the rest of my life. Like that was the point that I had gotten to. Anyway, but then when I say like it existed in friends and stuff, like I would say like Catherine like understands me as a person. I never have to explain myself to her. I'm just like, okay, like it exists in people I knew. I just never attributed that to something missing in my romantic relationships.
Do you think that's from the bond that you guys grew together, or do you think that's like similar past experiences?
Probably both. I think it's also just like somebody who respects you so much as a person that anything you say they can tie to. When I say like they fully understand you, I think the better way of explaining it is like they just understand who you are as a person and like how you show up as a person, so that anything that you say, regardless of if they understand what you're saying or not, they root it to like, oh, but I just know that like you are this person who is like this way.
Almost like assume positive intent.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like,
you don't have to like put a little like discretion and like
no, I don't have to be like,
advise.
so like,
By the way,
I'm not trying to say this from like, you know what I mean? Like you're not trying to explain yourself, because they just know you have like good intentions, or you know you're a good person, or they know like you're an empathetic person, or they know where you're coming from. I guess is the best way to explain it.
Yeah. I feel that. That's partially why I like before I date anyone, it's like, can I even like see you as a friend?
For sure.
Because like a lot of those traits like I like and love about my friends, I would like want in my partner. Where it's like, yeah, do you know me? Do we get along? You know, like, you know, we can have certain banters or talks where it's like it's not coming from a certain negative space. It's just we're sharing things, we're talking about things, and it's like a whole trust circle. But understand, it's like you have that. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and a big thing is like, can you be friends with my friends?
Oh my
God.
That's like, if you can't, like, you're done.
Dude,
You're
and
done.
can I be friends with your friends? Because that's just crazy.
Yeah.
And can my friends be friends with your friends?
Well, yeah, that's pretty nuanced sometimes. I feel like sometimes that doesn't exist.
That's always where it's like kind of fun. I love seeing it. It's like,
if you
these are the
can do
people-
that, that's elite.
Yeah, because these are the
elite.
people you surround yourself with, and these are the people that I do. And if they're any sort of similar, that's like a huge win.
Then it's like, oh, we're a family now. Like this is like
Yeah.
big family
there's
vibes.
just some
Yeah,
mingling.
for sure.
If you didn't get on with my friends, it's like a big thing. It's
It's a
huge.
must. It's a must.
It's almost
Yeah,
like
it
you
is.
see
It's
movies.
non-negotiable.
They're like the scary mother-in-law. I got scared like 20 friends. like, but it's not scary. It's like half the guys are like, can you hang and drink, and all the girls are like, can you just be normal? Like,
Can you just be chill?
yeah, can you chill? Like,
Yeah.
so big thing. Because like you can tell when you bring someone's a little off, and you're like, all right, I guess I gotta break up with her tomorrow.
I gotta hang out
like
with this person.
one good line of like banter and like go along with the friends. Like obviously you're gonna take some hits, but you roll with the punches and like dish it out again. That's when like, okay, you're integrated.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
if you don't take things too seriously, you're just like down to have a good time and like let loose and like not take things too seriously. I think it's a big thing for us.
What, like, because I guess we've all been in that seat where it's like, hey, like someone's bringing a new partner into the group. What's like your number one tell that like they can hang or they're good? Because I feel like as a group too, we do really good with trying to like talk to our partners. We all take a fair stab.
That's true.
So like, what's like when you take that fair stab and they whatever happens, they're like, I like him.
Oh, for somebody else's partner?
Yeah. Let's say it's someone's partner. You know, okay, let's say because I'm single. So like, I bring a person in, and you know, both you guys are great at taking a fair stab at being their friends. What's like one thing you notice or one thing you as a person approach where you like stamp of approval? She's down.
Yeah, I think in our friend group, there's a lot of gang mentality. And we'll make up decisions as a group, and then we kind of stick by it. So I like when someone comes in with their outside perspective and challenges that, because that shows that they're like willing to talk like for themselves and they actually believe in something, and they won't just quiet that because there's more people speaking loudly or there's like a bigger group consensus.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good one. That's also like really brave of them. Like, especially
100%. You come into a group of like 15 people and I'm like, actually?
our group is
No, but not like in like a heated way.
Yeah,
But, like,
yeah.
You're just like, oh, I have a different perspective
Yes,
on that.
yeah.
Because
I
as
think
much
that's
as
really
we're
fascinating.
because we're usually like ho, this is it. But if you go
so
against, you're
loud.
like,
we all turn.
we
like,
say that
"What'd you
again.
say?"
Yeah.
But it's all up front. It's all up front.
Yes.
We're like, I like that.
Well, I also would say like the most fun we have is like debating things, right? So like if you can join in on that energy of like, how could you possibly say that?
If you can clap back, that's a good
then
one.
it's like, okay, you can hang. I think for me, it's also like you can speak for yourself, but more so in the sense that like you aren't just kind of like this attached at the hip to your partner. Like if you can like float around and like exist as your own individual person with a bunch of these like strangers and still like hold your own. And that's hard to do. Like I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like that's an easy thing to do. I'm not that great at that either. But if I notice that you do that right away, that's like an instant stamp of approval, I think. I'm like, okay, this person's here to like be part of the friend group, not as like that person's like little toy
Like,
dog.
yeah.
It's like an open-mindedness.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, like we're gonna have a good time.
Yeah,
Totally.
They're not just like the boyfriend behind the girlfriend that she's at the cash register.
Yes.
Like, thanks,
Just-
thanks for
yeah.
buying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who in the friend group is your if you could pick one person to vet your partner, who would it be? Like
If I had a new partner and they need to meet. Oh no.
For me, it'd actually be you. Because there's so much going on. If they can click with you, I'm like, I think I'm in love.
I feel like you're just like looking at me. You're like, how can I crank up the difficulty level for this
Literally.
person? And see if they
Send
can
in the
make it
big
through?
dogs. Yeah.
Like that. You're my one where like if it's just that, I'd be like, go over there, do your thing. If you do this, you vibe. You're like,
That's so good.
because I feel like I don't know, like you're very much How's best friend, so we're very similar. It's just like you can hang, we can hang, we could all hang. You know,
Yeah.
pretty good.
I would also just say the same thing, like in like bringing a new person out and meeting you, because you're very sociable and like you're there to maintain like a positive, like good conversation. And if someone can't do that, then it's like, oh no, you can't even do
Can't
that.
even talk to Ivan?
When you're being spoon fed and you can't keep up, that would be like something I would be like a little bit wary of after that.
Also,
See,
get to hang out with out of pocket Ivan, just drunk and
Yeah.
deliberate out of pocket Ivan.
I was like, I'm opposite. I'm warning them about Ivan. I'm like, yo, you better be. I had this one friend. Yeah, it's a good question too. Like, who I'll answer I think mine first is like, it's probably usually like you and Kath together. Like, I feel like Kath and Sean are pretty. I was gonna say good, but I would say they're pretty invasive of my like of my love life. It seems so. I feel like they're mostly Kath, I guess, is like quick to be like, let's go hang out as the four of us, and like we'll.
Yeah, she likes to double date.
She
for
does,
sure.
she does, and I don't know anybody else that likes to double date. Like you guys are the only people that I know that are down for that. Anyway, so I feel like that's like a good entry of like, here are my two like pretty sane friends, because usually you stay sane during those situations. We're not entering
I was
like
wait.
yeah, we're not entering like crazy Sean era. So I feel like that's like a good like taste test of like the group itself. And I feel like you guys are pretty critical of being like, we didn't like that person or whatever. But I also think it's like a very interesting scenario, because I would say like you guys are really easy to get along with, but it's also just such an intimate scenario that like they're really in the hot seat. Like if it's the four of us, it's just like, all right, entertain us. You know what I mean? Like it's very like, you better bring your best or else. And I feel like it more oftentimes than not, it doesn't land the way that like everyone wants it to, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, he was just kind of like not that good or whatever. To be fair, I've also dated some like questionable people. But anyway.
Yeah, just leaving those, like, looked to Catherine and was like, we wanted more.
We had higher expectations.
You know, too, like, I guess, like, one thing from, at least, if it's, like, another person's partner, let alone like, it's the effort. You just try.
Just do your best.
And I think that's number one in a lot of things. As long as you just try, like, you know, sometimes it can be a little uncomfortable, but you just try, you want to. I think that speaks volumes in everything. You just try. Just give it a shot, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like even, and this is hard too, knowing there's so many of us, but like I just want you to like approach me also to be like, hey, like how's it going? I'm this or whatever. Like I will come up to you for sure and like introduce, knowing that you're the new person. But I think like the second, third, and whatever, like I want to see like the effort that you're coming to say hi to everyone and like make your presence known, versus just kind of like walking in and waiting for everyone to like come up to you.
Oh yeah, that's a
Yeah,
huge thing.
yeah.
That's a huge thing.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. Because you could just tell, you know, they're like, they're just waiting. But when you're trying to incorporate yourself, and it's scary, don't get me wrong, it's scary.
Yeah,
but
it's scary. There's a
I
lot
think
of us.
it's a lot more bark than bite in our friend group, for sure.
I don't think there's any bite. I think it's just a
There's
lot
no
of
bite.
yappy dogs.
So yeah,
We're all Pomeranians.
really annoying dogs.
yeah. No, for sure. Damn. All right. I think that was fun.
Yeah.
I'll see. Okay. To end it off, between us, because we're a part of the friend group, what do you think's one code that we uphold really well in the friend group before we end this?
Our friend group,
Our
or
friend group.
each of us upholding? Like, do you?
Oh, that's a pretty good one, actually.
Like, what's something you do really well, or are you saying like what's something
I was
really
about to say
good in
one
our
as a
friend group?
collective we do,
Okay, I
but
think
we could
that's
do
fine.
individual too. I kind of like that. I'm curious why everyone thinks they do really well.
For like a friend code, I think I'm really good at like dropping everything in, like being there
Oh,
for
yeah.
you, like ASAP.
You've been there.
Yeah, like I will travel across the world for you for sure, and like answer anything right away. Emergency contact vibes. That's
true.
yeah, that's my
true.
energy. Yeah.
That's a really good friend code. I would say, do you have yours off the top of your
Yeah,
head
I think
right now?
I think for myself, I'll be the friend who, in most scenarios, if I think someone is wrong, like I'll always try to speak up because I feel like
He'll challenge you.
yeah, I'll challenge
He's
you.
a
I'll
challenger.
challenge
He's a
you.
challenger.
Yeah, it kind of
Emergency
goes with my
contact
personality.
challenger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I want to make them better, and sometimes I want to feel like I want to see the resolve a little bit more. I want them to be like concrete in some sort of big decision that they're making, and like I'm there to like almost like prep you for the real world, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. And I think I would take the opposite of that.
You're like, yeah.
I'm the supporter, but like if it's like really whack, I'll let you know. But at the end of the day, like I feel like I'm pretty good. at, like always like
Yeah.
I'm there. I'll be on your side no matter what.
Yeah.
I'm
Cheerleader.
a ride or die for
Challenger,
you because you're my friend.
cheerleader.
Yeah. And we balance that where it's like
Yeah,
true.
this guy will challenge the idea. And I'm like, let's go. Put me in, coach. I'm there. Yeah.
That's a good balance.
It's a good
that we've
balance.
got.
We're all good.
Wow.
We're all good.
Nice.
But that's it, guys. I think that's the end of today. Thanks for listening again. Let us know if you liked it. Let us know in the comments what your number one code is as a person, and maybe some other little like relationship things you've learned by yourself. You know, I think that's pretty much the basis of today.
Yeah.
But once again, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys again.
Bye.
Bye.